Now we come to an important juncture in our discussion. What gives rise to a thought moment? Because if everything is cause and effect driven, okay? If everything is cause and effect driven, what is it that triggers a thought moment? Why is it that a dead body does not have a thought? Why does a dead body why does it not have thoughts? Why does it not have willpower? Why does it not have a mind? What is it that's not happening there that is happening here with you? That's a question to ponder. Let's try and find some answers. For that, we need to get into understanding how a thought arises. Let's try and figure out how a thought arises. And once again, I'm going to help you learn this very practically. I love it when things are made very practical rather than theoretical. In fact, it's been too theoretical so far, in my opinion. I don't like it. This is very theoretical. I like it practical. Like, let's bring it to the practical world. All right, what is this? What is this? A pen. Why is it I put this in front of a dead body and I get no answer, but I put it in front of you and I get an answer? We briefly touched on this last week. This is just a reminder. I put this in front of you, I ask a question. In fact, I don't even need to ask a question. If I show you this, in your minds, you've already identified this object and you know what it's called, right? So much so that you know the next question I'm going to ask you is, what is it? See, let me prove it. Even before I ask the question, you know what I'm going to ask you now. What is it? See how quick you are? You have willpower. You think that you can think. Shall I say that again? You think that you can think. So what is this? It's a pen. This is an input into that machine there. There's a processing that goes on and comes an output. Out comes the output that says pen. What has just happened in that machine? I'll ask the question again. When I put this in front of your eye and you answer a pen, Swamin answer, for that output to have come from you, what has happened inside this machine that is you? Well, quite simply, a thought. A thought has happened. Now you might ask, how many thoughts, Swamin answer? Is it one thought, two thoughts, 300, 500 thoughts? Let's not worry about that just yet. A thought, let's keep it simple. A thought has happened. So what is a thought then? What is a thought? A thought is the instrument that perceives an object. See? The thought is the instrument that perceives an object. When I put this object in front of you, something happens inside of you, and out comes the answer, a pen. Yeah? So what happens inside of you is thinking. Thinking happens. And when thinking happens, a thought is the instrument that does the thinking. So the thought is the instrument that does the thinking. And out comes the answer, this is a pen. So far, so good? All right. Let's try again. What is this? A leaf. Now, how were you able to tell these two things apart then? That's my next question. When I put this object in front of you, you said a pen. When I put this object in front of you, you said a leaf. Now do you see that thoughts are various? That no two thoughts are the same. Two thoughts can take very different shape. Yeah? Because they perceive different objects. I placed this object in front of your eyes. Where else could I have placed some objects? Where else could I have placed objects? Close your eyes for a second. But please open them when I ask you to, okay? Open your eyes. Did you hear something? I click my fingers. What did I do? I placed an object in front of you, but not in front of your eyes, in front of your ears. As that object passed through your ears, what happened inside of you? Very simply, a thought occurred. That's it. And then I ask you, what was that sound? And you tell me, Swaminatha, you clicked your fingers. So this is what a thought does. It perceives. What does a thought do? It perceives. So a thought is a perceiving instrument. Now the reason that you can walk around without bumping into things then, ladies and gentlemen, is what? How come this body can move around without bumping into things? Because there's something that's going on inside. And what is that? Thinking goes on. The mind goes on. It is minding things. You've heard the saying, or no, it's not the saying, the announcements, they go all the time on the tube. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. What are they saying? Mind the gap. Meaning, there's a gap, perceive the gap. Because what happens if you don't perceive the gap? That's where you put your leg, right? And you get into all sorts of problems. So please mind the gap between the train and the platform, they say. This is what the mind does. Now I want you to start to think of the mind as a thing that does something. What is a clock? It keeps time. What is a glass? It holds water. Can you see the verb inside that? Holds water. Clock keeps time. Microphone amplifies. Right? Pen writes. Mind what? Thinks. Body, it does all sorts. Right? Body lifts, walks, sits, all these things. It moves. The body moves. So the mind is the driver that moves the body. But the mind has to mind so that the body can only be moved in the right ways, so that it doesn't bump into things, and you put the right kind of stuff inside, put the right kind of things on it, take the right kind of things off it, right? All of these things the mind has to do. So what is the mind once again? The mind is the instrument that perceives. That is how you can perceive this as a pen and you perceive this as a leaf, right?